Peace. How you doing, family? It's Mr. R2 here at TVP Radio, where we're talking about business, community, and culture. And today is really hitting home as far as community go. It's kind of like as if our community is under attack. Under attack from just violence overall. It's bad if we're getting attacked by other people or other cultures and stuff like that. But this is a self-inflicted attack on ourselves. But um, it is something that we need to address and something that we need to look at, as a community, overall. But it has been what I've been noticing, what I've been looking at, especially reading all the trends and the articles that's been written up, or even in a police report that's been written up talking about what has been going on, especially locally here in the city of Killeen, but also even in the state of Texas as well, with the incidents that happened up there in DeSoto, Texas, as well. Um, so I'm gonna run through some things that has been going on here in this community, and then we're gonna touch on a particular incident and situation that happened in DeSoto, Texas. Um, yeah, it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep and pretty deep and sad at the same time. But I mean, it's just something that we're dealing with, you know, collectively, as a community. Um, as far as Black community, I can say that. I mean, it might not hit directly home, but it does affect what we do and the direction that we're going in going forward. But we have to understand that there is some sort of a level of responsibility. And I want you to understand and remember, today is an actual call-in show, so you can actually call in to talk about, you know, um, this situation, the violence. Let me push this up. I want to like this to talk about the increase in violence in our city, or cities. Even if you're not in the city of Killeen, or you may be in another city and there's an uptick in violence in your city, call and talk about that. There's, I think it should be a conversation. So if you're watching this, go ahead and share this on your news feed, because we're going to be talking about the uptick in violence in our communities. And yeah, here we go. All right. So this is Sunday Talk, where we will be talking and discussing. This is not going to be a regular show. Normally, of course, we'll talk about, other national news and things of that nature. And I'll do a Netflix spotlight, or something like that. But I'm not going to do that, because this hit home, especially here in the city. So we're going to be talking about things that or things that you probably didn't know or you didn't hear about. But violence in this area, city of Killeen, has been very consistent lately, especially here in the month of March. But for 2022, there's been a lot of things going on with violence in the city. Again, this is a call-in show. When we get to that part, into that segment, you can call in to where you want to communicate or voice your opinion about it, but communicate, voice your opinion, but still be respectful of those who have their own opinion. So if you can watch this, if you're watching this not right now, just go ahead and put the city that you're viewing from, just so we can build this digital relationship that we have right now. So there is an uptick in violence in the city. So the first thing that happened here in the city of Killeen, let's go into it. Come on, the screen is tripping. All right, so there was a Killeen investigation and murder that happened on Vega, which was on March 12th. The Killeen police investigation, the death of 2 juveniles during a domestic violence disturbance. Now, as we're going through these dates, look at the consistency in what happened. Where did the violence stem from? Because if it's something that's domestic, that means there's something that started within the home. Because if it started in the home, that means that there is some communication or communication barriers that may lie within the home. So this one again happened on March 12th on Vega, which again, a Killeen investigate the death of 2 juveniles during a domestic violence disturbance. There was a 6-year-old that was immediately airlifted to the McLean Children's Hospital, and a 11-year-old that was placed in critical condition. So for this, it sounds like there was there was war in the home between two individuals, um, and the kids were involved, and the kids took the brunt of this situation. So we have two black females, two young females, 1 6, 1 11, that won't be able to have their first dance or won't be able to go and live their life. Their life got cut short at the age of 6 and the age of 11. And, I'm a father, I have two daughters. And to hear this, to have two young black females or two children overall not able to live their life and to learn what it is to be an adult because the two parents uh were involved in the situation and they're no longer alive this day because of what happened in the home of the domestic violence disturbance. So um prayers out to the family, the grandmothers, the grandfather, the uncles, the nephews, the cousins who will never be able to have sleepovers or whatever with these two young females again because of the domestic disturbance that happened in the home. And this happened on March the 12th. And the next incident and the next situation that happened, it happened on the 11th, which was a homicide in Redstone on March the 11th. So the situation with this, there was a male there was a suspicious male. They said it was suspicious male. There was a suspicious male armed on the 2600 block on Brook Hollow Circle. And upon the arrival of the officers, they said they located this male with a self-inflicted wound. So understand what a self-inflicted wound is. That means he did it himself, allegedly. I'll say allegedly. I'm not a homicide investigator or anything, but they said they found a male located with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But while they were out there at the location, they got the call to say that there was another unconscious female that was found on the 5800 block on Redstone, and they found a female who was unresponsive, but she was dead at the Redstone residence. And this was a young mother. I did do some research. I found her Facebook page and stuff like that. This was a young mother who had 3 children. So again, this is domestic. This is not a bad drug deal or anything like that. This is something that happened in a home and something that was domestic, to where the two adults did not reach some sort of common ground to have a conversation, because it went from 0 to 100. It went directly with violence. Um, and those 3 kids won't be able to spend time with their moms no more, because she is no longer here on this earth. So I pray for the grandmother or the family that is taking on the responsibilities of parenting those young children. I think she had, it was either 2 girls, 1 boy, or 2 boys, 1 girl, one of the two. But prayers for her family and those who were affected by this situation. So again, this is a male with a self-inflicted wound. It sounds like he was at the Redstone location, did what he did at Redstone, and then went to another location and took his life because of what he did at the other spot. But again, these are things that are happening in the home. I don't have an answer for what happens in the home, but we can develop conversations within our communities. That means, men, find someone that you can communicate with. I can't speak for a woman. I'm not a woman, but I can only speak for a man. Men, if you're in that place to where you get heated, or you have that burning in your chest, or your heart is just raging and you're upset, you got to find that brother that you can call, or that friend that you can communicate with, or go sit down and go to uh, a mental health specialist and have conversations and just be transparent about what's going on and the thoughts that you're having inside of your head. Because again, this is another one that happened inside of a home. You know, this is not a drive-by shooting. These two happen in a home. So how we communicate, I think that's where we can look at in these two incidents and situations. Um, so the next one that happened, it happened on the 9th of of March. So with this situation, of course, I jumped into it, started studying, started looking at it. You know, saying there was a fire victim, and now they're looking at the fire victim as a possible homicide. So again, a fire victim being found in a home and now being possibly investigated as a homicide. So again, where are the lines of communication and how are you communicating? And having someone as a release where you can communicate with, or having the ability to sit down with someone you trust. If you don't have anyone you trust, um, you know, taking walks or writing things down, something. You know, again, all three of these happen. It started in a home. Of course, I don't have an answer about why it happened because I wasn't there. But the consistency between all of these things that have happened here in the month of March have all started inside a home. And it started with that type of domestic violence that has totally just took the lives of people, you know, as they say, you know, gone too early. Yeah, gone definitely too early. So here's another situation. This happened on March the 5th, which the police investigated an early morning murder on Gray Street. It happened on the 5th of March. And the situation with this was the police was called to a dispatch on Dean Avenue in reference to the gunfire. And when the police arrived to Dean Avenue, they found a 25-year-old female with a gunshot wound, and she was airlifted to the hospital. But then when they went inside of the location, they noticed there was an additional person, a male that was deceased, a 31-year-old male that was pronounced deceased on that same street. So again, this is something that happened in the home between a man and a woman. And I mean, we just got to learn how to communicate. I know and understand it's not always easy to have conversations with people, but if you can't have a conversation with that particular person, go find someone that you can talk to. Find someone that you can talk with. And if you don't have that person, then go for a long drive. Try something. I think that's the easiest thing for me to say. Try something. Try whatever that something is. And if that's something that you're trying work, then keep doing it. Keep doing it, because if it's keeping you sane, if it's keeping you free, if it's keeping you alive, then do that. You know, live to see another day. Don't live to see a point to where you're no longer free because you're behind bars because the actions that you've taken, but live to see another day that you can actually uh, speak life into somebody else who may possibly be in the situation that you used to be in, because you have become victorious. Now you have the ability to foresee that particular situation if somebody else may find themselves into that. But find a way um, to communicate with someone. So the next thing that happened, now this happened in DeSoto. So DeSoto ISD, violence that happened on March 10th. And I'm going to show you this video of a student who actually attacked a teacher, and then the teacher retaliated as regard. They retaliated because he was protecting himself. I'm just going to say it like that. The teacher was protecting himself. So let me go ahead and show you this video, And let me know what you think in the comment section. Really? Now you don't want to play? Oh my God. Wow. It's just tripping today. Technology. All right. We'll just let it go. All right. Yeah, we just have to find other ways to communicate, and once we find those things, then we duplicate that process and keep going on and keep strong. Because if there's an intake, if there is an uptick in violence, then let's find ways that we can communicate. Because there are some things that's not the community's fault. These are things that are happening in people's homes, and when they're happening in people's homes, there is a communication barrier between this person and that person. Find a common ground, and once you find that common ground, then understand how you got there, and then duplicate that same performance measures that you did to find that commonality, and do it again when you find yourself in other situations like that. All right, so that's it. That's all we're going to talk about today, the uptick in violence, and we pray that it does get better inside of this community. And it only gets better in the community when we understand that we share a responsibility, but we also have to be responsible for ourselves. It's not always the community fault. These are individuals that are in the community, but let's learn how to talk and communicate and speak to one another. All right. Y'all be blessed. Peace.